Santander like last year, and instead of lots of bikes going on, there's lots of bikes coming off. Loads of bikes coming off. All coming back to Spain. Maybe some are coming back from the TT, although it's still running, so I'm not sure. But there's a lot of bikes here. And get this going on here. This, that's nice. So we are starting to load slowly, and nice group of bikers here. I've not seen Trev and Jill. They're here somewhere. Ah, they might be over this side. We're on the boat, and I've just had fish and chips at the restaurant here, which is a takeaway. It did seem to take an age to load today. That was probably due to all the bikes that were coming on, and in fact probably more to the bikes that were going off. So I'm just looking at breakfast, full English, is €8.50. Get me one of those. Yeah. Don't know where Trev and Jill are. They're here somewhere. I haven't seen them. I haven't been down to my cabin because they were cleaning them, and everybody was queuing up like British people do. So I can up here, get a bite to eat, as I forewent dinner last night. So I feel good now, so I'll have a look around about later. Well, that's what I call a result, really. Well, we waited ages on the outside of the boat to load. Excuse me. Well, oh God, I'm choking. Must be the vegetables, the first vegetables I've just had in about 3 weeks. Yeah, we waited ages outside on the tarmac to load while they faffed and farted about, and loads of bikes came off, which took a long time, and I think a lot of those bikes were probably returning from the Isle of Man TT. This time last year, of course, I was going, and it was a week or 2 weeks earlier, and a lot of people were going to the Isle of Man TT. But I think a lot of people are coming back. I know the TT's still running, but I think that people maybe go for the first week and then have to come back. There's a lot of bikes on there, and they're mainly Spanish, so yeah, I think that's where it's coming from. So anyway, got on the ferry after all that waiting, and then had to queue and wait for my cabin to be cleaned. Apparently, they put a room pole up saying cabin's being cleaned, so everybody stood around waiting, and I thought, this is ridiculous. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do the British thing and wait, queue. So I went to the restaurants, and the restaurant had my fish and chips. Very nice, not too expensive, to be honest with you. Nice fish and chips, and then slowly made my way down to my cabin. When I got to my cabin, it was quite obvious when I got in there that it hadn't been cleaned. I mean, the bedding was all on the floor, the towels were chucked in the bathroom on the floor. So obviously they had not done that cabin. So I went upstairs to complain, saying that my cabin had not been cleaned, and they made a phone call, and she came back and said, I'm very sorry about that, and offered me another cabin. And I said, is it possible for me to upgrade to an outside cabin, because outside cabins cost a lot more. And I'd heard a couple next to me trying to get an outside cabin, and they'd been offered one for £44 extra. So I thought, well, give it a go, see what can nothing to lose here. So I said, is it possible to upgrade to an outside cabin? So she said, just have a look. Yeah, she said, I've got an outside cabin. She said, it does have a view actually onto the walkway, but the walkway can't look in apparently. So I can still see the sea from where I am. And so she said it would be €27, which I thought was reasonable. Anyway, when I then came to pay, she said, oh, there's no charge, because your previous cabin was in such a state that we're sorry about that, and as a consolation, we'll give you a free upgrade. So I'm quite happy. I've got an upgraded cabin here. It's got a nice sofa in it, and a window looking out. And yeah, because I think it's going to be a bit rough, not in Biscay. I think when we get across Biscay it might chop up, because I know the weather in the UK, particularly Plymouth, is very strong winds, so it might chop up a little bit later. We'll see. But anyway, I'm happy. Upgraded cabin, the boat is about to depart. Engines are just kicked in, and we're about to set sail. And so next adventure is arriving back in Plymouth. Excuse me, that's the fish. And then the ride back to Coverack from there. So anyway, I achieved the goal of driving nearly 4,000 kilometres around France without an incident, without dropping the bike. So just got to negotiate the UK now. It's probably the most dangerous place on the planet. But anyway, yeah. So the boat's now shaking, crackling, rolling, and we're on the move. So yeah, all good, all happy. Nice little cabin. It's actually like a double bed. It's brilliant. So I'm dead chuffed with this. Yeah, couldn't be better. Okay, see you later. So yeah, we're underway, and it's beautiful. The sea is flat at the moment. I keep saying this, but because I think it's going to change. But at the moment, it's just absolutely awesome. Yeah, here we are. It's a tad windy, but the sea is like flat at the moment. So yeah, we're just on deck, having a look around. Deck 9. Nice and sunny. It's a beautiful day actually. Not a bad day for sailing. Of course, it's making me wild. And no doubt at some point it probably will be. And the good news is there's a helicopter pad at the back here. So we'll all get shit faced, we can get a lift off. I'm going around the back now. Stern, sorry, the stern. And just sit out here. Now this is the doggy bit. Doggy bit, and so if you've got a dog, you can bring a dog up here. My dog's behind me. Should you be bringing a dog, you can bring it here. It was good to give an update. Here it is. So we're now about an hour and a half from Plymouth, and the crossing across the Bay of Biscay, to my knowledge, was smooth. Because I went to bed about 10 o'clock and I didn't wake up this morning until, well, I thought it was 8 o'clock because my phone said 8 o'clock. It turns out, because they run on British time on the ship, it was actually 7 o'clock. So I actually went down for breakfast an hour earlier than what I'd anticipated going down for breakfast, because I was going to meet Jill and Trev down there, and that was agreed for I think 8 o'clock. So I went down there early, unbeknown to me. But everybody else was down there as well. Lots of other people I've met on the boat were there all doing this. What bloody time is it? Anyway, had a lovely breakfast, and as predicted, the English Channel did chop up, and the boat is rocking and rolling a little bit now. The usual Brittany Ferries shuffle, and you can't see very well out the window, I don't think, but it's quite choppy out there, and it's quite well, it's quite wet out there actually. I don't know what the forecast actually is. I'm not yet onto the English phone system. I'm still on the maritime system, so I've shut the phone off to save my data costs, because I've already stepped outside of that at some point. I don't want to spend any more. So yeah, so basically we've got an hour and a half to run, just slightly less, to Plymouth before we go through the disembarkation process of queuing, and then on the road back to Coverack. Overall march for the trip across, excellent again, very lucky. That's twice across the Bay of Biscay, flat calm. English Channel, there's nothing, just a bit of a rock and a bit of a roll, no bang, nothing. It's lovely, I'm really loving it. Okay, that's the end of that bit. Probably this is the end of the movie. Maybe. We'll see.